All right, so whenever we're trying to solve for something with an exponent, you're going to see solving things with a radical. It's all about getting certain things alone. Normally, we'd get the x alone. Here, we got to get the x squared alone. So I'm going to divide both sides by 4, and voila, the x squared is alone. Now I deal with the x squared. So the x squared, we take the square root of both sides. That's how you get rid of a radical. And the square root of 25, when I'm solving for x, it's plus or minus 5. You do have to have the two answers. If I just ask you what the square root of 25 is, it's 5. But if I'm solving for x, 5 squared can be 25 and negative 5. Quantity negative 5 squared can be 25. I'll have to account for both of them. It's the same deal in the second problem. I've got to get that parentheses squared alone. So we subtract 5 on both sides. 4x minus 2 squared equals 36. We divide both sides by 4. And we get x minus 2 squared equals 9. To get rid of the square, you square root it. Square rooting a square gets rid of the radical. X minus 2 equals a plus or minus 3. And then we add 2 to the other side. If you can do this problem, don't leave it as 2 plus or minus 3. 2 minus 3, negative 1. 2 plus 3 is 5. And both are answers. And get in this habit because it's going to be important later on. Plug them both in. Negative 1 minus 2 is negative 3. Negative 3 squared is 9. 9 times 4 is 36. Plus 5 is 41. 5 minus 2 is 3. 3 squared is 9. Times 4 is 36. Plus 5 is 41. Works out. Now, here we have some higher exponents. You still get the variable alone. X to the 4th equals 6. But taking a square root doesn't help here. You have to take, you use the radical sign and you use the index of the exponent. So what I mean by that is this. I'm going to take the 4th root of x to the 4th. That's how I get rid of the exponent. You take the index of the exponent. But that means I need to do it to the other side. So this answer is going to be the 4th root of x. You have to get used to the fact that that's how it's going to be left. Since it's an even exponent, we're going to put the plus minus in front of it. If it were an odd exponent, you wouldn't do that. Even exponent, we're going to put the plus minus in front. I got to get that x plus 1 alone. I subtract 4. 3 times x plus 1 to the 5th equals 18. We divide by 3. Happens to be 6 again, that's just coincidence. X plus 1 to the 5th equals 6. So now I'm going to do the 5th root of both sides. If you can't take the 5th root of something, leave it. I don't want it on your calculator. So x plus 1 equals the 5th root of 6. Your answer is going to be this. Negative 1 plus the 5th root of 6. So now in these problems, we have to get rid of the radical. So therefore, we've got to get the radical alone. We divide both sides by 4. The square root of x plus 5 equals 3. To get rid of a radical, you raise it to the index, which means if there's no index, it's assumed to be 2. So it's just a radical sign. We square both sides. So x plus 5 equals 9, and x equals 4. I cannot stress this enough. This is not just for the heck of it. This is mandatory with radicals. You have to plug your number back in and make sure it works. 4 plus 5 is 9. The square root of 9 is 3. And 3 times 4 is 12. Therefore, the answer is good. The second problem, same deal. the cube root of 11x minus 6 equals 3. To get rid of a cube root, we don't square it, we cube it. 11x minus 6 equals 27. We add 6. 11x equals 33, and we divide by 11, x equals 3. 11 times 3 is 33. 33 minus 6 is 27. The cube root of 27 is 3, and 3 plus 2 is 5. It does work out. Please be in that habit. We're going to subtract 4. Now, please keep this in mind. And if we're solving for x, x has to be a real number. A radical cannot equal a negative if your answer is going to be a real number. So right now, we have a negative where it's equal to. But when I divide by the negative 5, that makes it positive. That's what allows us to do this. Okay. We're going to square both sides. And now it's an Algebra 1 problem. 2x plus 2 equals 16. We subtract the 2. 2x equals 14. And my x equals 7. And there's your answer. And once again, plug it in. 2 times 7 is 14, plus 2 is 16. The square root of 16 is 4. 4 times negative 5 is negative 20. Negative 20 plus 4 is negative 16. Okay, so with a problem like this, we've got to get one radical to the other side. My advice is make both radicals positive when you can. So this becomes the square root of 5x plus 4 equals the square root of 8x minus 23. And now we're going to square both sides. That way we're not squaring anything in the radical. Okay, we don't have to square anything outside the radical. So that minus sign we don't have to worry about anymore. By moving it over, now we're just squaring radicals. That's what we want to really do. And then it becomes a pretty easy problem. It's Algebra 1. The radicals disappear on both sides when you square both sides. I'm going to add 23 to both sides and get 27. I'm going to subtract 5x on both sides and get 3x. And then we divide 3 on both sides. My x equals 9. And plug it back in. 5 times 9 is 45, plus 4 is 49. Square root of 49 is 7. 8 times 9 is 72, minus 23 is 49. The square root of 49 is 7. And 7 minus 7 is 0. It does work out. To get rid of a radical, we still have to square both sides. So I'm going to square 3x minus 11 under the radical. But that means I got to square this entire side, which means it's x minus 5 in parentheses squared. You have to square the entire thing. Now, hopefully at this point, we recognize x minus 5 squared has to be written as x minus 5 times x minus 5. That has to be FOILed. So this becomes x squared minus 10x plus 25 equals, well, the square root of 3x minus 11 squared is 3x minus 11. And now we're going to move everything over. We're going to subtract 3x. We're going to add 11. And it's x squared minus 13x plus 36 equals 0. And we factor x minus 9, x minus 4. So my answers are 9 and 4. Now this is where you have to check your work. There's something in math called the extraneous solution. And this is what it means. If I put 9 in, 9 minus 5 is 4. Good. 3 times 9 is 27, and 27 minus 11 is 16, and the square root of 16 is 4. So I'm good there. But if I were to plug 4 in, 3 times 4 is 12, 12 minus 11 is 1. Square root of 1 is 1. 4 minus 5 is negative 1. Can we agree negative 1 and 1 don't equal? So therefore, we would consider 4 extraneous. 9 is your only answer. So it's no longer plugging the numbers back in just to check your work. Now it's also about making sure you have the correct answer. Now this is what makes dealing with the radicals difficult. Is something like this where you have something under a radical, something under a radical, and this is not. So what we have to do here is we've got to square both sides. It doesn't help to bring a radical over. And when you square this side, that means the square root of x plus 5 minus 1 times the square root of x plus 5 minus 1 equals x. The square root of x is x. And I'm going to FOIL this out. The square root of x plus 5 times the square root of x plus 5. Whenever you multiply two radicals with the same expression underneath, you get the expression without the radical. Minus the square root of x plus 5 minus the square root of x plus 5 on the FOIL. Negative 1 times negative 1 is 1. I'm now going to combine like terms. X plus 6 minus 2 times x plus 5. Or radical x plus 5 equals x. Now I'm down to one radical. I need to get that radical alone. I'm going to subtract x and 6 on both sides. And we're going to be left with negative 2 radical x plus 5 equals a negative 6. I'm going to divide both sides by negative 2. And I'm going to get the square root of x plus 5 equals 3. And now we're going to square both sides to get rid of that radical. X plus 5 equals 9. Subtract 5 on both sides, and my x equals 4. All right, so we're squaring both sides. Square root of x plus 13 times 2. Thanks. Square root of x 13 plus 2 times the square root of x plus 13 plus 2. Equals, well, just x plus 33 when you square that side. So here, we're going to get x plus 13, because x square root of x plus 13 times square root of x plus 13 is x plus 13, plus 2x plus 13, 2 times x plus 13 under the radical, and then 2 times 2 is 4. We're going to combine our like terms. So x plus 17 plus 2, x plus 13 equals x plus 33. Now, I already made a mistake there. Hold on. All right. Should be a plus 4 here. The 2 and 2 is 4. We moved everything over. What's nice here is the x cancels out. So we end up with 16. We divide both sides by 4. Square root of x plus 13 is 4. And we're going to square both sides. X plus 13 equals 16, and my x equals 3. I can't stress it enough. Put it back in. 3 plus 13 is 16. Square root of 4, or square root of 16 is 4, plus 2 is 6. 3 plus 33, the square root of 36 is 6. And that is our answer.